Welcome, YouTube. Individualism is a lie. I don't know how, I don't know why, but in American society, from a cultural standpoint, we've all been led to believe that you as an individual have got to go out here and do completely all of the activities of life and be able to prosper on your own as an atomized individual, that you will do everything by yourself. And that your family doesn't matter, your friends doesn't matter. Oh, you just work hard, and that is a myth. Really and honestly, truly, if you go back to the founding fathers, like, they would have thought this was pretty much bullshit, because, you know, they might have would have pushed these ideas like as a feel-good type of sentiment to the masses. They themselves personally didn't operate that way, and nobody within the context of American society has ever operated that way, really and truly. All of these great men in American society have always had people around them. They've always had nepotism. They've always had handouts. They've always received welfare in the form of land grants, specifically for America. And outside the context of America, across the wider Western world too, if you want to talk about Europe, Europe had nobility, which is fundamentally all about connections, family, who you know, status, all of which is tied to other people, the collective. Gentlemen, individualism, in whatever form you've absorbed it, is a lie. And I'm going to explain it to you in this video. So, I'm well aware that individualism is very deeply ingrained in everything that we believe. If you were a person who's grown up within the context of Western bullshit society. But see, this is a weapon that has been weaponized against you in order to separate you from what really actually matters in the world. Because if you take this all the way back to freaking hunter-gatherer times, dude, like, it really, all time periods, really, but just think about how your ancestors lived, dude. Like, your ancestors for sure did not pull themselves up by their bootstraps, definitely not. No, they existed, and most likely in a clan structure, most likely around like a tribe, and so their very survival was tied to their ability to stay within that tribe. And it was so much so to the point where if they got cast out of the tribe or whatever like this, they got ostracized and kicked out. Like, it didn't matter whether you were man or woman, really. No, it was just curtains for you, man. Like, you were most likely either about to die or about to have a very hard life that was going to wear you down and make you die sooner. That was, like, you did not have humans really ever living by themselves, ever. That's never been a thing, guys. That, take any time period, take any cultural context, it don't matter where you put the needle on the wheel of time. There's never been any context under which individualism was a thing that was paramount to survival. Never. Never. If you strip away all our modern conveniences, especially, I mean, it's really not beneficial to be an individual even today with modern technology. But I'm telling you, if you strip all of this away, if you strip away the context of modern society, you very quickly see how your survival will start to hinge upon who you know, how many people you know, how much can you trust them, and how much they trust you. It revolves around people. It revolves around people. This is kind of why I started to really question the red pill back in the day when I was much more into that shit, you know, because they would preach all the time, oh, I don't need no woman, just, I'm a big bad man, I'm gonna go out here and make all the money and fuck all the bitches and do all by myself. And that's not really sustainable, for starters, because you would have gotten much further ahead if you were just part of some group instead of some weird lonely male that's just in the gym pumping iron, lifting weights, and oh, I'm a man, I'm making all the money. But like, you would make more money if you had people giving you the connections, though. Okay, like you'd be less stressed from not being alone. You'd have like a girlfriend probably from being able to network through social connections. Every single metric you can come at this by tells you that people are way, way better off part of a group than they'll ever be by themselves. Every single angle you can come at this with. Okay? And so this is a very paramount reason why I push the monastic ideology, why I say, you inkies, you inkwells, you guys need to start, well, first of all, you need to stop, like, looking at looksmacks forums and stop getting on all the weird race shit that a lot of people in this community get into. You guys need to do that, first of all, and then stop hanging around each other while you're doing that, too. You need to build up some sort of merit to yourself, acquire some skills, acquire some actual practical level things that maybe somebody would want to be around you for. And then, from the position of actually having something useful to offer, form a group with each other. Come band together. Form a monastic group. Form like a little 5-man monastic group, kind of similar to what I do these days. And like that is a realistic. That's why I push that, because I recognize, and I've always recognized this, even when I was young, to some level, that you're not going to do very well by yourself. Even if you're like maxed out on every stat that you could possibly be in, humans just weren't inherently designed to be alone. That's just a brutal honesty about it, okay? We're a social species. Everything about the way your brain operates, everything about your biology is set up for you to be talking and mingling with people, with other people. The reason why you have a mouth, the reason why you have vocal cords, the reason why your brain is so heavily engineered and wired and sophisticated as it is because you've got all these neural pathways that form off of communication. And if you don't communicate, some of those neural pathways will start to decay and go away, and then you actually get dumber from being alone. I spoke about that in a video that got taken down, that basically loneliness makes you dumber over time because you start to lose the neural pathways that would have been dedicated to communication. Guys, everything about human biology says that you're supposed to be around people. So individualism is a complete and utter, it is evil too. It is actually evil for the fact that society, Western society, has gotten so many people to believe in this lie of individualism about, oh, I'm going to stand on my own. It's particularly evil that it's been sold to women. It's even more evil in that regard. But it's also evil in the sense that men believe it. Because men aren't supposed to be alone either, despite our ability to better handle that situation than a woman can. Men aren't really supposed to be alone either. Nuh-uh, like really? Neither side of the species is supposed to be alone. That is why I push the monastic ideal. You guys need to stop. First of all, you need to stop with a lot of the weirdness that goes on in the inky community. Build a skill. Build up some value to yourself. Come together then. I don't think incels should mingle while they're incels. Like, incels really and honestly are like more like craps in a bucket. So it's not useful for inkwells to be next to each other, because that's just going to be a cesspool of losers. Like, there's also the saying that you are who you hang around. That's very true. So if you hang around inkwells, you're going to be an inkwell. And I'm pretty sure it's not controversial to say that most inkwells don't want to be inkwells. Like, I don't think that's controversial to say. So first of all, you got to stop being an inkwell yourself. And by stop being an inkwell, I largely mean adopt some sort of a value to yourself, adopt a reason, like acquire something that will make someone want to be around you, like having a skill, knowing how to do something, or at least having money or some shit like this, Acquire a reason why people will want to associate you, to where it's not just, oh, I'm hanging around this fucking loser that sits around drinking beer and smoking weed all day, Acquire something like that. Stop being an inkwell. Become monastic. Become exceptional. And then only once you build yourself up, then monastic type minded men can hang around each other and form these little groups where they can now elevate themselves. And so that is the core, the core practical. Like, I know a lot of time I speak about the theoretical stuff with the gold pill and with the monastic ideology, but here's something that's coming much more from the practical side of it. Guys, you're a social species. You weren't meant to be alone. The reality is, if you continue down the path that most men these days find themselves in, you're gonna be alone. And that's not good. That's not good. Remember King Cobra GFS, like, he largely, rest in peace, but he largely went out of this world mostly because he's living by himself all the time. He's an inkwell guy who's not very attractive, and it's just a natural consequence of that. He died at, 34 years old? I mean, that's young. Likely from a preventable health issue. Some shit like that. That's entirely a result of being alone, guys. So even just mundane shit like that is a reason to not be alone. But the list of benefits to being alone is like maybe a couple things versus the insurmountable amount of things that can go right if you're around the right people. And so this is largely the practical side of the monastic ideology, is that, well, you are who you hang around, so hang around monastics. What is a monastic? Well, monastic is not an inkwell, that's for damn sure. So you've got to find it within yourself to elevate above this current station in life if you are an inkwell. That's just like, find out how you can do that. I had to figure out how I could do that. My friend out there, he's out there. I'm in another room right now. He had to figure out how to do that for himself. And he's not an inkwell too. So you've got to figure out whichever way you got to do that, so that once you guys form up and start forming these little groups, again, you are who you hang around. So you don't want to hang around inkwells. I think it's probably better to be alone than to hang around negative people. That is the only exception to the rule where I say individualism is not a virtue. Like, I think individualism is preferable to hanging around the wrong people. But I'm saying, if you just focus on, if you use that alone time, if you have to go that route to focus on like what you need to do to change your value in the world, objectively speaking, like acquiring a skill. Guys, there's a lot of nuance. Like, the universe is complicated enough such that there are ways. Fuck, my throat is getting itchy. There are ways. I'm just saying the universe is complicated enough to where there are things you can do. There are ways to get it, to go about things. There are things that can be done. There are things that can be done, especially if you live in a Western country. Okay, there's too many inkwells living in Western countries that are just like, they're neat maxing, and they don't have to do that, But I say it all the time too. Eventually, it's going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to, based on where the world is going. Like, the elites clearly want everybody kind of locked in and with not much mobility. Like, I guess this is a separate topic I could cover in another video, but I think the world is going back to how it used to be, with the nobility and the peasantry and nothing in between there, And once that happens, I mean, you're just going to be screwed. So, guys, you need a group. You need a tribe. You need a group. Being an individual is not it. That lie got sold in the Western world, and it was largely part of the game of capitalism, I suspect. But, I mean, it doesn't serve you, and it's in contrast with the entire context of human existence. So, with that being said, please like, share, subscribe. I think I've said my piece on this. This has been Dion the Lion. I'll see you in the next one. Don't be alone, but go monastic. Later.